We have a massive update for the LA Lakers as news has come out that Kyle Lowry could be coming into this LA team on the buyout market. And this would be huge for the squad given the fact that Gabe Vincent has been dealing with an injury and the Lakers have been a bit thin at the point guard position. Obviously, all the eyes have been pointed to, the DeJounte Murrays of the world, Zach LaVine maybe coming in and having some ball handling roles, but this might be a sneaky acquisition on the buyout market that could pay off serious dividends. So we're going to dive into all of that in this video, but before we do, again, over 90% of our viewers are not subscribed to the channel, so it would mean the world to us if you guys could hit that subscribe button so we can deliver all of the latest LA Lakers news to you, especially with the trade deadline just approaching. But Jaya, news is going crazy right now. The first, we'll just dive straight into the report. According to team and league sources, Kyle Lowry, who could be available if he's bought out by the Charlotte Hornets after being traded there from the Miami Heat this week, is one name to watch for the LA Lakers. Again, coming from Joe Van Bua, but this is pretty interesting. Again, we've seen buyout markets, we've seen stuff going on, but how you feeling about this sort of Lakers report compared to all the other guards LA's been linked to in recent weeks?
I mean, there's been so much going on the past week, especially with Kyle Lowry. He's had a lot of movement in the past week specifically, but honestly, I do not hate the idea of him coming to the Lakers. I know we have kind of like a touchy history with Heat guards. We've been burned by them before, but I mean, I'm not too mad
I
about this.
still
I think he
believe in
could be.
Gabe Vincent.
You
Get him
still believe in
healthy.
Gabe Vincent?
Get him healthy.
I have nothing against Gabe Vincent, but I don't love that he got injured
Yeah.
right after we got him. That was not very fun, in my personal opinion. But I mean, I do think that Lowry could be a really good backup for Vincent, especially because, yeah, he'd be coming off of a buyout and we wouldn't be losing really too much just by getting him. Like, it wouldn't hurt us. And so, by that standpoint alone, like, I feel like I can't be mad about it, especially because, yeah, Toronto legend.
Toronto legend. This is both a Lakers and a Raptors fan. I'm a bit biased when it comes to Kyle Lowry, but reports have been coming out like crazy, regarding Kyle Lowry. Basically, sources say that Gordon Hayward is far less likely than Kyle Lowry to seek a buyout in the event Charlotte is unsuccessful in trading him. So again, Gordon Hayward's been a person that I know you brought up in terms of as a potential buyout candidate or even trade candidate for the LA Lakers. So, that's sort of a situation there, but Lowry's much more likely to get bought out. Reports are also saying that a buyout, this comes from Mark Stein, that a buyout can certainly be considered likely when it comes to Kyle Lowry. I'm told that Philadelphia is among the teams that are interested. Obviously, the Lakers were linked in a previous report, but basically, it's certainly something that's considered by the Hornets. A lot of money to dump in to send him away, but again, a vet in this league that's going to want to go to a team that's not the Charlotte Hornets. But according to Woj, the Hornets don't have an immediate plan to buy out Kyle Lowry. They want to see if they can trade him first before the February 8th deadline. And, even though I'm a big fan of Kyle Lowry, I think he's a good player. We'll dive into his stats after. I think we're both in agreement. It's probably not the right move to trade for Kyle Lowry. Heck, even a Gordon Hayward, if they're still available. Again, the Hornets and the Lakers have a history of kind of making trades and stuff like that. But before we dive into more buyout talk, is there a world where you'd like to make a trade for Kyle Lowry or just wait for him to potentially get bought out?
Honestly, I would just only go for the buyout. He is too old to be somebody that we're trading for, especially because we just have so much young talent right now. It's not worth getting rid of any of them for somebody that's probably going to retire in the next couple years. And I mean, he's younger than LeBron, but obviously nobody is LeBron. And you cannot be playing in the league at this age and be expected to get some pretty huge trades for what you are, even if you were a legend in the past, not disregarding anything he's done. But I mean, right now, like, he's old, he's nearing retirement. That's why he's a buyout candidate in the first place. Like, only players that are really past their prime are up for buyout. And right now, that looks like what Lowry is.
Exactly. The Heat had to attach a first-round pick in order to acquire Terry Rozier with Kyle Lowry there. So, again, that sort of measures his value. I don't think the Hornets are going to be able to deal him away. Again, if the Lakers really wanted him, they're itching at the bit to sort of pick him up, then maybe they could throw in some salary filler. But, in order to match that salary, I'm not giving up a Rui Hachimura. I'm not giving up, even a D'Lo at any cost, in terms of Kyle Lowry deal along those lines, even though that's what it would take to sort of make the salaries work out. But basically, the Lakers have a good chance regardless. If he does enter the buyout market, again, some teams could trade for him, but given the cap stuff, basically the Phoenix Suns, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Boston Celtics, and Denver Nuggets cannot acquire Kyle Lowry through a buyout. This year, as given the CBA, his contract was ahead of the mid-level exception, so they're ineligible. So that knocks out a bunch of teams that would be intriguing to Kyle Lowry if a deal were to potentially go down. Obviously, you'd be competing with the Sixers there, who do have a need. He's from Philadelphia, but again, he's been linked to the Lakers in the past, so I'm optimistic. Give a better sale, especially during winter time, for LA versus Philadelphia. But basically, looking at his stats again this year, nothing crazy. He's 37, going to be 38 years old probably in 50 days, by the end of this season, only averaging 8 points per game, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, but shooting 38% from the field and shooting a ridiculous, you look at the bottom of this sort of big chunk of numbers here, but he's shooting over 47% from corner threes this season. He's a guy that can still space the floor. He's not going to be creating the same way he did during his prime Raptors years or anything along those lines, but he's gritty. In short spurts and short bursts, he can be very effective. Just last season for the Miami Heat, we saw it sort of in that play-in game early in the round. The Heat made a deep playoff run, and even though Kyle Lowry wasn't super consistent over that run, he had some massive moments. And bringing him off the bench, especially considering D'Angelo Russell's inconsistencies, having a guy that can just step in when D'Lo's kind of struggling a little bit. Again, the Lakers had Dennis Schroeder last year, which is a big loss in this offseason. Gabe Vincent's health is very questionable here now at this point, so I wouldn't rely upon him as sort of a guy consistently getting minutes in the playoffs. And has a relationship with Lowry, so if he's playing well, they've already sort of jumped each other in terms of taking each other's minutes already. I mean, Lowry's kind of the perfect buyout point guard, in my opinion, just to take on some minutes, be a reliable vet off the bench, would be super cheap if he is bought out. I don't know. I think it just makes complete sense to go after Kyle Lowry here now at this point.
Yeah, I mean, right now with so much still going on, and we don't know how much cap space we're going to have by the time actual trade deadline comes out.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little tough to say who we should actually be going after until trade deadline passes and we see what we have available for buyout candidates. I still honestly don't really know if the Lakers are going to go after Hayward or Lowry more. Based off of what you're saying, I think it really just encapsulates the idea that he is going to be a really good option right off of the bench. And as a backup for our star players, by no means is he going to be somebody in our starting rotation and consistently on the floor. But yeah, he's great when we need points, which is why, again, I'm not opposed to him. I think it would be fun, especially to have a kind of star coming to the Lakers. Like, it's a tale as old as time. Towards the end of their career, they want to play on the best team right before they head out. But yeah, I think it could be a good option, but I think it's a little too early to say yet. For all we know, there's some other teams that see the same thing with his his corner three percentage and want to actually trade for him by some crazy reason, especially now that some of the big guys and heavy hitters are out. You can't have the Bucks or the Celtics or the Nuggets trading for him. This might be an opportunity for some of the other teams who need a late push to get into the play-in and into playoffs trading for him. So I think it's too early to say if we should go after him heavily or not, essentially.
Exactly. And the way you could get dealt is kind of a salary dump. An expiring contract could be valuable if you have sort of a long-term sort of commitment to a player, and you can sort of match salaries there. Lowry's off the books, and then someone coming into the Hornets, they'll eat the salary because they're going nowhere fast right now, Charlotte, at this point. So, there are interesting pieces, but looking at the kind of buyout market for these guys that are actually available here now at this point, I mean, and also Evan Turner came out and said he's been making some wild comments as of late, but do not go to the Lakers. They're trying to make you the fall guy. It's all about your legacy. I mean, Lowry's going to be the backup point guard. I know players on LeBron teams always get roasted and that type of stuff, but Lowry's not going to be a fall guy. I just want to bring that up to put to bed that type of nonsense. But there are interesting pieces on the buyout market. I mean, listen, some of the guards out here. I'm a big fan of Jeff Downton Jr. I think he's an underrated piece, right? Brandon Goodwin has been absolutely killing it for the Westchester Knicks in the G League. So he's a guy with potential, but a lot of players on this list, with the exception of George Hill, don't have a lot of experience, in the playoffs or anything. And I think the Lakers want some experience. Anyone on this list kind of intrigue you along these lines?
I mean, it's not playoff experience, but based off of his dunking alone, I feel like Mac McClung should be an easy draw for the Lakers, especially considering he's played for our G League quite a bit. But I mean, just again, vibes and dunks alone. he should be a Laker again. And that is my opinion on him. I really hope he does develop a bit more. I mean, he's still so young, and the Lakers have had such success pulling from the G League with Austin Reaves. And maybe he'll be our next white boy from the G League. Who knows? But it is like an interesting one to keep an eye on, especially with his huge social media presence and his already and his just general attachment to LA and relationship with the Lakers already. I think that's one to keep an eye on for sure, especially as we get towards the tail end of season.
Yeah, for sure. Again, buyout, I'm probably going for Lowry if those guys are available. The last question I'll throw out to you. Both Gordon Hayward and Kyle Lowry are available out there on the market. Again, Gordon's a bit younger, has been putting up some better stats, has dealt with some injuries too along those lines and stuff, all like that. Who you picking up if you got a line on the basketball court and you can either pick up Gordon Hayward or Kyle Lowry?
Oh man, that is a tough one. And I was anticipating you asking me this. I was thinking about it the whole video, especially considering, yeah, they're both up for potentially buyout from the Hornets. And yeah, Hayward's stats are higher. And for me personally, right now, I think I'm going to favor youth and have to go with Hayward. I know he's super injury prone, and that is like a little concerning. And I'm sorry to break your Raptors loyalty heart. But I mean, I think Hayward would just have a bit more consistency if he stays healthy. And again, he is younger, and youth and having young players is something I've just been bringing up consistently. And so if we're going to pay for anybody, I feel like it should be for a player we might be able to invest slightly more in. But I would not, that is not like a firm opinion. I wouldn't be like Hayward for sure. Like if we get Lowry over Hayward, I wouldn't be mad. I think they're both solid options for buyouts, and we have nothing to lose and everything to gain from getting either of them. But I know where you lie.
Defense, leadership, playoff experience. Get Gordon. He's not even that young. He's broken everything on. Not to hate on Gordon Hayward. A fortunate series of injuries, but I want Lowry on this Lakers team if it's coming down to it. It's a position need for LA. Everything happened in there. We'll passionately argue stuff about Kyle Lowry till
we totally can.
And
dare I say, they're having a mid-off.
They're having a mid-off right now. But let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Again, subscribe to the channel if you guys want to stay up to date with all the latest LA Lakers news. Anyways, you guys are the best. We're signing out. Cheers.